Hello everybody, welcome back. We're in the second part of the video for 1.6. We're doing examples 3 and hopefully example 4 today if time permits. So in example 3 we're going to determine the volume of a sphere. If you look back at the very top of your page, the volume of a sphere is simply given by 4/3 multiplied by pi, take the radius cubed. Alright, so in this one we're going to be determining the volume of a sphere. And we look at, this is a real world question. It says the sun approximates a sphere, so it's approximately like a sphere. It's not exact, but we're going to say it's like a sphere, approximates a sphere, and it has a diameter of approximately 870,000 miles. What is the approximate volume of the sun? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have to change the diameter, obviously, into the radius, which is simply taking half of the diameter to get the radius to plug it into our formula. Okay, so we're going to take that. We're going to take half of that, which would be 435,000 miles. Would be the radius. Half of that of the diameter. Okay, so you're going to have to see something interesting occur here when you punch this in your calculator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up my calculator so you can watch it, me do this calculation right here on the page. Okay, so I'm going to show you on the calculator how to do this. You're going to notice something interesting happening. It's going to put our answer in scientific notation, so you really have to be mindful of that. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 435,000 and I'm going to cube that value. And you'll notice it gives me a value in scientific notation. This E on my calculator means times 10 to the power of 16. So that's scientific notation. Scientific notation gives you a number between 1 and 9.9 times 10 to the power of. So your first number is a single digit, and then a decimal multiplied by, because it's so large, you're unable to, your calculator can't hold the digits. Okay. If you put your phone, if you have a smartphone and you put it on, and you turn it over on the landscape, you will see that happening for portrait, right? Do you know what I mean when you turn it? So you'll get more decimal places, but again, we're gonna do scientific notation. And remember, this was 4/3 pi r cubed, so I've cubed the radius. Now we're going to multiply by 4 pi, multiply by 4 pi, and then you're going to divide by 3. So 4/3, right? And you end up with an answer of 3.4479 times 10 to the power of 17. All right. So I want to show that to you before I wrote that in on my calculations. Okay. So I'm just going to write down volume now. You've seen me do it on the calculator. All right. So that's equal to, and you can just grab the calculator again. 3.44. I'm going to snap a picture of, so I remember the digits. Snap a picture there. Oh, sorry. I get that from my... Alright, getting back to the question there. So I got my value of, you saw me snap the picture there. And then I need to round. It says the approximate. So when we do scientific notation, we'll round it to one place after the decimal, so the 10th place of the decimal part. Again, this is obviously not 10th place because it's times 10 to the power of 17. It's a huge number. All right. So there, the approximate volume of the sun is 3.4 times 10 to the power of 17 miles cubed. Very large. Nothing that we can even imagine, really. So the check your understanding question is the moon is approximates the sphere as well with a diameter, so very much smaller, as you can see from the sun. What is the approximate volume of the moon? And there's your answer. Again, good opportunity here to try to practice your scientific notation, right? So next what we have is example 4. It says determine the surface area and the volume of a hemisphere. So a hemisphere is, what happens in a hemisphere is when we take a sphere and cut it directly down the center here into two equal three-dimensional objects. That's called a hemisphere. In doing so, it changes the formula a little bit. So that's what we're going to talk about right now. So as you guys are aware, we know that the surface area of a sphere is equal to 4 pi r squared. But when you cut this in half, obviously it's going to be smaller. So it's literally going to be half that value. So I'm going to insert my half of that. Okay, so that is going to be the outside part. But then we have to take into consideration this part of the sphere, which is also a circle. And we know that the area of a circle is pi r squared. So again, the radius doesn't change. So that'll be the flat part, the base if you wish. So half of 4 pi r squared is going to be, when you calculate that, it's going to be 2 pi r squared. You'd be right. Half of 4 is, right? So it's going to be 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared. So the final surface area is going to be, you guessed it, sorry about that, it's going to be 3 pi r squared. So that is the surface area of a hemisphere. You won't get that on the, unfortunately you don't get that on the provincial exam. They'll just expect you to understand that, right? So surface area of a hemisphere is simply given by surface area of a half a sphere plus the area of the circle that it creates as well. Okay, so now we're just going to simply plug that value in for our radius. It says the radius is 8 centimeters, so we'll put 8 in here. All right, so I'll work that out. We get 8 squared is 64. Oh, that radius should be gone. My apologies. Sorry, sometimes this is fidgety on me. Not a big deal though. That was a 3. So I substitute my value in. I get 8. 8 squared is, as you guys are aware, 64. And then we multiply 64 by 3. I always leave I don't even touch the pi, right? We multiply 64 by 3, get 192. And we know that 192 times pi, that's what our surface area is going to be. So now we'll actually get to our calculator and we'll calculate that. On our calculator, we'll plug it in. We get 192 multiplied by pi, and that gives us a value of 603.1857. Take a few places after the decimal. Not sure what I did there. My apologies. 603.1857. And we know surface area has the units of centimeters squared. Area is always squared. Okay, and then it says the nearest tenth of a square centimeter. All right, actually, so I don't really put that in. I can put that in at the end. Remember, it's all or nothing, right? So that should be gone to the end. And the 8 rounds the 1 up to a 2. Okay, so the surface area of a hemisphere with a radius of 8 is approximately 603.2 centimeters squared. Question B, we're going to be looking for the volume of a hemisphere. So the volume is simply just calculate the volume and then take half of it, right? That's what I would do, or you can put it in, it's up to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go get the volume formula. So I've went and obtained the volume formula, right? We know that the radius is 8. Okay, so it's going to be 8q. So we substitute 8 in for r. And now we're going to cube 8. So when we cube 8, we get 512. All right, so I'm just going to recopy this line here. Substitute the value of 8 in. That gives us 512. And then we multiply 512 by 4 and divide by 3. So once we multiply 512 by 4 and divide by 3, we get, it's going to give us the decimal, so you know what, we'll just leave it like that. So we'll just multiply it by the 4, and we get 512 multiplied by 4. We get, the numerator is going to be 2048 when we multiply that 4 by 512. And again, that's still going to be over 3, because I don't want to estimate it. There's no need. All right, so we multiply the 512 by the 4, and we get there. And then remember, we're going to take half of that. So in order to get that, we're just literally going to cut that in half. So we'll take half of this whole thing, which means divide by 2, which is essentially divide by 6, right? So I'll show that what I'm doing there. So that's the volume of a sphere. So the volume of a hemisphere. All right, the volume of a hemisphere. Okay. Volume of the hemisphere is going to be half that. So insert a fraction. We'll take half of that. Okay. This could be brackets. Right, so that's going to equal pretty much the same thing, only now it's going to be multiply the denominator, so you get 6. Alright, so that becomes 6, and that's equal. When we simplify that, we take 2048 and divide that by 6, multiply it by pi, we get so we take 2048 divided by 6, we get 241.3 repeated, multiply that by pi, and we get 1072.330292, and some more digits. And that's simply going to equal, remember it says to the nearest tenth of a cubic centimeter, so 1072.3, and the units are going to be centimeters cubed, because we are dealing with volume. Almost got it in. So the volume, I'll write a sentence, the volume of the hemisphere is approximately equal to 1072.3 centimeters cubed. All right. So that is it for sections 1.6. Hope you're enjoying the videos, and we'll see you again when we finish off the chapter in 1.7. Thanks for everything, and we'll see everybody again soon.